And action. Hi, YouTube. My name is Yinel. We're going to go over how to do the Ghostwire Tokyo any percent standard speed run for the most part. The current world record time is 1:13:30 by Trey or 7RayD. My time is like 1:15:50 in this category. It's pretty good. But yeah, if you want to learn this run, it's a pretty fun run. I recommend it. Yeah, lights, camera, action. Let's go. So there's a few options things that you're going to want to pay attention to. We run the game in Spanish, Spain, because currently that's believed to be the fastest language of the game until anything new is found, I guess. I would recommend turning off camera bob strength because it's very annoying. And you have to play with time limits on. So in terms of controls, there's one kind of important one, assuming you're going to be playing on mouse and keyboard. Although, for the most part, all these strats are going to apply to console just the same. I don't think there's anything currently in the run that's PC or console exclusive. Everything is ubiquitous. You're going to want to change your interact key. The game, by default, has it on right-click. Right-click makes the camera zoom in, and it will cancel your sprint. So if you right-click while you're trying to pick something up, or while you're trying to open a door or something like that, and you're holding shift or whatever your run key is, and you zoom in, you'll drop your sprint, which is really just a pain in the ass, and you'll lose a significant amount of time to it. Other than that, everything else is kind of up to your discretion. You don't necessarily have to put it on F. I just recommend putting it on something other than right click. As far as I know, I don't think you can change. Yeah, you can change the right click action, I guess, if you want, but we are going to need to grapple. So, I mean, just make sure you have that on something. It's also important that you have your switch talisman key bound to something. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you know what it is. Some other stuff we won't be using. Change ethereal attack wheel, currently not used in the run. Everything else, yeah, sort of just do whatever you want. But the important one is interact, off right click. In terms of... no, I didn't change anything. You're lying. In terms of settings, you may notice... yo, KBZ, what's up, man? You may notice that there's a pop-up, like, whenever you interact with anything for the first time. It's kind of like a tutorial thing. It shows you information about collectibles and stuff like that you pick up. It's great for a casual speedrun, or for a casual playthrough. But for a speedrun, it's gonna lose you straight minutes. It's really, really bad. So that setting, and there's a lot of settings here, is called pop-up UI. And that's the one that you want off. All these other ones, you can leave them on. You can turn them off. It's totally up to you. For the most part, this is the one that's going to lose you time. So make sure you have pop-up UI set to off. Otherwise, graphic settings are totally at your discretion. There's no specific graphic settings. I run full screen, but with a smaller resolution just to get slightly better frame rates. Yeah, I guess I would say prioritize getting stable frame rates over performance for the most part. Like, you don't necessarily have to be getting a bajillion frames, as long as you're able to get a steady 60 or a steady 120 or 144 or whatever. That's probably the best way to go. Otherwise, you're going to deal with, like, getting jump seat and stuff like that. So that's about it for the options. It's not that complicated. A lot, you can do whatever you want. Let's get into the run. So for standard, for the speed run, we run on easy. Basically, the run is either done on the hardest difficulty, Tatari, or it's done on the easiest difficulty, easy. So for this speed run, we're going to be doing easy. I probably won't be doing a Tatari speed run. First thing, the timing will start when we skip the very first cutscene that we're in. So this information, like the New Game Plus stuff that you get, which we aren't allowed to use in the run, is basically, you can take your time here, think about whatever you want. Once we skip past all these, we're going to get into the first cutscene. As soon as, basically the way I time it is the lower right side has that little dial that'll complete itself. As soon as the dial, like, reaches completion, that's when you start your time. Similarly, for the end timing, we're going to be doing the same thing. So, here we go. So whenever you want to skip the cutscene, it's kind of up to you. You can watch a little bit of the cutscene. So we're going to hold our cutscene skip, and as soon as we get to that skip, we will start our timer. I'm just going to keep the timer running. I'm going to be showing things and stuff like that, so it's not going to necessarily be a good time. First thing we do here is we just move around. It doesn't really matter where you go. you're kind of locked into this tutorial section, and then you're going to immediately skip a cutscene and start shooting. This scene always locks you onto the first guy, and it doesn't let you move until you shoot, and he'll always go down in one shot. So once you do that, you're free to go. You can start moving, and just move to the back side of this section. Eventually, it's going to tell you you have to block. You don't actually have to shoot these guys at all. It'll just run you through the tutorial. There we go. And now we're just going to wait a little bit, and eventually... once the timer basically runs out, that section is timed. Also, I'm going to get no board up real quick. 1 second, just so you guys can see my key inputs. Should have thought about that. That first section is timed, and in a run, it'll probably be around the 30-second mark-ish that you can actually do damage to those guys. So, like, you can just lay into them and blast them if you want, but you kind of don't want to be like in the middle of a shot animation while you're before they're actually like shootable. They're essentially invincible until that timer is up. For the most part, we're just going to be running forward here. We're trying to get to the hospital. This is a pretty straightforward line. It's a good idea to like pay attention to what boxes you can bump into and what are immovable objects. But yeah, for the most part, we're just going to be running forward here. I can't really teach you like good movement. You're just going to have to experiment with the game and figure that out on your own. We're going to skip cutscene, start running forward, and head into the hospital. So first section, really straightforward. We're basically on rails for the first like 10 minutes of the run. So this part you can probably route yourself. It doesn't even really matter how far we run here because it's going to put us into a cutscene anyway. So we're in the cutscene. Once again, it's going to lock us on to the first dude, which is great. So you can immediately start firing. And these dudes both go down in 3 shots exactly on easy. So you can just go into them. And now we're going to be stuck here. Yo, Jason, how's it going? We're going to be stuck here until KK gives us this dialogue. So you can kind of like mash going into this because you'll know it's about to come up. You can mash your accept key and then immediately go over here. And the game forces you to get the charged attack as our first upgrade, and you can exit out of the menu, and on your way. There's an invisible wall there. It won't let you go past that point. And then you kind of just want to wait here till it gives you the prompt to charge. Charge up your shot. Do this. Currently, there's no way to skip this. It'd be kind of nice, because this section is sort of a snooze fest. We're going to scoop that food. It's up to you. You might need it, you might not. For your first few runs, I would say grab some extra food along the way. But like, don't go out of your way, because we'll be running past plenty of food. And really, we're mostly looking for the nether food anyway, just for that 10% attack boost. So we're gonna come up here, jump through here. I don't know if it's faster to run across these tables. I saw Trey do it once and it looked cool, so I do it. You can cut these corners like really tight. You'll probably realize that the movement in this game, it doesn't punish you for running into walls, like at all. So some games, you get a slowdown or you stop completely if you run into a wall while you're sprinting. This game, I'll just demonstrate. It doesn't... You're running at full speed, no matter how... Unless you, like, go horizontal with the wall, obviously. But, like, you can really kind of push your angles to be really tight in most areas. So now we're going to skip a couple of cutscenes. There's 2 cutscenes here that we skip. Another important thing about cutscene skipping. You can actually just hold Q. You don't have to let go of the Q key and skip cutscenes separately. You can actually just hold Q. It'll save you some drama. So if you want to be skipping cutscenes frame perfect, essentially just be holding Q going into the cutscene. You don't have to learn like the timing of when you press the cutscene skip button. You just have to learn that there is a cutscene I'm going into, and I want to skip it as fast as possible. I'm saying Q, but whatever your cutscene skip button is, it doesn't have to be Q. It's escape. Whatevs. And that's the first chapter. So here you'll determine where you want to split, because currently there is no auto splitter. I usually split right as the chapter logo fades away. There is a load remover though, so you'll see the timer pause, and it's going to give us chapter 2. And then as soon as it fades away, that's when I split. It's up to you. You can do it whenever you want. You can do it during the load technically. And we skip this cutscene, and we're going to head over to KK's house. That's our first thing. A lot of these first sections are just straightforward running sections. There's a little bit of combat. It's not too bad. So we're going to head over here. Now, there's a lot of, like, camera lock stuff, and you'll kind of notice it throughout the run getting in the way. And it's just something that you kind of have to deal with, and you figure out at what point the camera unlocks you. That was actually terrible. So, optimally, you would want to expose all three of these guys right away. Combat is definitely a pain point in this run, because sometimes enemies don't behave exactly the way you want, and they stagger in weird ways. So, for the most part, you have to make the decision mid-fight if you want to take their cores, or if you just want to shoot them down. And this early on, it's both slow to take their cores and miss shots, so it's sort of up to you. So we have to pick up the Katashiro. Here's going to be the first instance of animation canceling, and we're going to do a decent, you know, wherever it's applicable throughout the run. That's as simple as pressing whatever your block key is, or your punch key. Honestly, you can animation cancel with, like, anything in this game. Any sort of action that takes you out of your current animation, it will cancel whatever animation you're in. So we're holding the Katashiro. We can't climb anything until Akito puts the Katashiro away. So we're just gonna block, and that'll immediately put the Katashiro away. We can come up here, and we get locked into the dog cutscene. So we're just gonna hold Q going into this, like with all the other cutscenes, and immediately we're gonna start shooting. Those guys take like half a second to spawn in. So, like, you kind of have to delay your shot before you start shooting. And then this is mandatory, so we're going to absorb the cube. We don't have to worry about ammo in this run too much. For the most part, we're usually well stocked. If necessary, you can take minor detours. So when you absorb that Katashiro, you can actually start backing up and turning around, like, right away. As soon as you begin the animation of absorbing it, you can just start dipping out of there, and it gives you a little bit of extra distance. Now we're going to head over to the phone booth over here. And these phone booth doors are kind of weird. I recommend not running into them, because sometimes they push you, like, way off to the right. And now we're going to sit here for 20 or 30 seconds. When you start running this, you'll probably realize that you can't always hold sprint coming out of cutscenes. So I'll demonstrate here. You would think, if I hold, say, sprint and D, right? You can see I'm holding shift and D. That when I come out of this cutscene, I'll skip the cutscene, I would immediately start running to the right. This cutscene actually might prove me wrong here, but we'll do it for science purposes. If you're holding a button going into a scene, right? It won't accept that button. You have to start holding it sort of at the fade out, right? So in that cutscene, right when after we got the cutscene skip, that's when you would start holding your keys, and immediately, if you did that, you would end up running. There's a few other instances of it. So we're going to come over to this door. There's a little bit of tech that goes into this. I do it one way. I think Trey does it a slightly different way. When we interact with this door, we're going to have to do the hand seal. So, the way I do these, and I would recommend looking at the keyboard overlay, I start the hand seal, because by default, he's going to show us this slow-ass hand seal animation. We don't want to see that. That takes way too long. So we're going to interrupt it by immediately swinging to the left. It almost doesn't seem to matter where you swing the mouse. Just move the mouse to interrupt the animation. And as soon as it's interrupted, we're going to start holding tab. And that'll make KK do the animation for us. And at the very end of the hand seal, we can start mashing tab to give it the final blast. So here's how that looks. So we're going to interrupt, we're going to hold tab, and then we're going to mash tab. If you start mashing tab a little bit too early, it'll interrupt the sign. If you do it like kind of just like that, you can essentially not have to memorize the sign and get it pretty quickly. I think there is another way to do it, but I don't do it that way. You can watch a Trey run. So, we're going to come in here. These cutscenes are interesting because during the fade out, you can actually move. So, as soon as we look at this, we're going to head to this. As soon as we look at this, we're going to start heading over here. And then we need to pick up these investigation notes. There's only a few pickups that we, like, are relatively mandatory. And that's one of them. So, we're going to come over here. We're going to look, and we're going to start moving over to the thing. We're going to skip the cutscene. As soon as the cutscene fades out, we're going to start holding left, and we're going to inspect that. And it's going to just fade right to black. And then we're going to keep holding forward and come over here and examine the projector. And we're already kind of in position to pick up these notes. There is a timer on the door anyway, though. So, like, it won't let you leave the door for a good few seconds anyway. So you have plenty of time at the end to pick up those notes. It's very important that you do. So as soon as this starts, we're going to make our way upstairs. This section is pretty straightforward. We're going to punch that as soon as we can. Remember to press sprint, because the game forces you to walk there. We're going to head in here. We got one of our first trippy running segments. This is just, you know, basic movement stuff. Take the best line you can find. Don't get stuck on things. Like, you know, simple stuff. So as soon as you start this, you can switch to your arrows. You can press whatever your switch is. And then as soon as it gives you the prompt, I would recommend not even moving your mouse. Just keep it in the spot that it leaves it, fully charge an arrow, and let it loose. That's probably the most consistent way to do that. And not have to worry about it. It's very straightforward as soon as you stop holding your mouse. So now we're going to run here. We get a little invisible wall so you can kind of chill for a second. And then we're going to head up here. Probably the hardest part of this run is going to be just memorizing the route. But the most fun, I would say, is sort of optimizing the movement and figuring out the cleanest lines and getting the glides down correctly. For these, I try to get as few climbing animations as possible. Like, just to demonstrate, you'll see, like, when you climb up, you kind of, like, lose some time there compared to just bumping up and getting on the next object. It's very minor, but little animations like that do come up a lot throughout this game. And as soon as you open the door, you can start punching. So basically, I press my interact key and my punch at the same time for that. Easy peasy. Now, there is a soft lock here. If you jump off, because ultimately we're going to be jumping off this balcony. If you jump off this balcony too soon, the game actually soft locks, and it doesn't think that you left the apartment that we just left for some reason. So I usually wait, like, just a second, because it's a pain in the ass having to reset, like, 10 minutes after basically getting out of the intro. So as soon as we get woo, the barrier disappeared, we're good to jump off. And you can stand, like, right about here. And as soon as you get your sensibility, you can hit that. And we're good to head over here. We don't have to watch the animation of the orb. We don't have to follow it. Now we're going to wait until KK says that we can use the power. We're going to use the power. Oh, we're going to use the power. See, I used it too early. We're going to get close enough that we can cleanse it. So you can actually cleanse during KK's dialogue. You cannot switch to your shot and fire a shot there. That's why we get close to it and take however much damage. The damage is totally negligible. It would take forever to die there. So once you get out of that cutscene, you're going to skip that one again, of course. We're going to head over here. And now we kind of get our first open world section where we are sort of on our own. So we're going to watch this cutscene as the Tengu appears. Usually what I do here is I just hold right click and mash space so that as soon as the prompt comes up, we can get on the Tengu. Now we're going to head over here, and I like to put 2 shots into that guy. Oh, wow, that was a scuffed line. Wow, let me up. I like to put 2 shots into that guy as we're coming up so that they're both ready to absorb. But I kind of fucked that up. Let's see, where's our last autosave? I think this is like right here. I just want to do that again. Just so we have a good, clean example of it. So yeah, you don't get your Tengu ability until here. You can also cancel your eating animation, and I would recommend it, because otherwise it takes forever before you can actually shoot a shot. So you can block or punch to cancel your eating animation. as soon as you get the health benefit from it. And it's you don't need to finish the animation. So we're gonna come up here again. Jump on the railing. Come up here. Oh, 2 shots. Come over here. 2 shots. We're gonna position ourselves towards the gate, and then we're gonna cleanse the gate. Just like that. It's totally what I meant to do. Now, as soon as we cleanse this gate, we're on a timer. When KK's dialogue finishes, we're gonna pull up our map to look at our skills menu, no matter what. So far, we haven't looked at our skills menu, and it's important that we haven't looked at our map, because every time you look at your map, it shows you all of the side quests and all the shrines in your area. So we're going to avoid looking at our map kind of as much as we can. Eventually, we're going to have to. Like, I would say don't sweat it too much if you look at your map, because odds are you would have had to clear those shrines and look at the map anyway. Like, you were going to lose time from it either way. Camera, please, focus. Get your shit together. So... as soon as we finish this, we're on a timer. There's a Tengu on the roof, like, right above us. So we're going to run through the shrine and grab that Tengu. We're going to go up, just like that. And then we're going to scoot on over to here. And remember, we're on a timer, so we want to get to our destination kind of quickly. I'll explain gliding in a little bit. So, this is forced. It's showing us our map locations and stuff. Great. Fantastic. We're going to head straight over to our skills. We're going to boost our glide duration. And we're going to boost our core grab speed, which is important for bosses. It affects a lot in the run, and it's just generally sort of very helpful for bosses and getting them down a little bit faster. Yo, Bowie, what's up? Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick breather. We're recording a guide for Ghostwire Tokyo. Trying to cover everything. Anyway. We're gonna run in here and do the shrine. There's a few ways that you can do the shrine. Yeah, it's unfortunate we disabled sound effects. I just added a new one today or yesterday. So there's a few ways you can do the shrine. I would say whichever way like you're most comfortable with, ultimately. I usually go in and go to the right and deal with the little schoolgirls first, and then I move up to the left. I would recommend using a mix of bow and regular shots in this. It's up to you. If you think you're good with the amount of arrows that you'll have for later in the run, use the bow on everything here. It'll be really quick. If you're a little worried of being down a shot or two because things manage to move out of your way at the last second, then don't use the arrows, obviously. So we're gonna come in here. We're gonna head to the right and go for the little girls first. Oh my god. Don't take that line. We're gonna just bop. For some reason, they don't expose their core, except for this one. So we're just gonna deal with those. We're not gonna suck cores. I would say, like, getting their cores is probably only worth it if it's a group of, like, 3 or more dudes. Then we're gonna come up here. There's somebody down here, and sometimes she doesn't aggro. Sometimes she does. You'll know almost immediately if she's in the wrong spot. We're gonna bow and arrow those, and she's in a good spot. So we can actually just cleanse this. If you're aggroed by anything, you cannot cleanse a gate. So, yeah, she aggroed us way late, which is actually kind of annoying, but let's just deal with these two guys. Oh. And that's the whole shrine. The reason I like doing it in this order, and it is kind of up to you, is because this puts us right here at the end. So we're right where we need to basically be at the invisible wall that prevents you from getting this fire orb. You'll see. So, like, we just have to wait a few seconds. It's all good. If you wanted to, you could run, grab some food. There's, like, some food in the corner. But yeah. So now we have our fire. Great. Good. Fancy. We're gonna run over here. Jump off this. I guess now is a good time to explain gliding. Real quick. This is gonna come up a lot. So when you fall from a height, not just gliding, sometimes Akito does an animation to show that he impacted the ground. and it's sort of dependent on a few things. Both of those were totally fine, which kind of surprised me. But let's see if I can get him to do it.
Huh?
Oh. I can't get him to do it right now. You'll see it. But basically, we want to avoid Akito's impact animation. Whenever you glide, you want to try and get close to the object that you're landing on, like as low as you can. So like, when you're gliding here, you want to get low, so that way you have a minimal impact. Every time you do that little animation, you're losing probably like half a second or so, because it does stop your momentum temporarily. So, anyway, we're gonna grab those arrows. Sorry, I derailed myself. Yo, Manwee, thank you. We're doing a tutorial today. So you're gonna come up here, and you're gonna jump up to here. Sometimes these roofs like to eat your jumps, and sometimes they just kick you off like that. It's totally okay. Ultimately, we're gonna head down this way. I kind of want to do that section again, just to illustrate, but come over here, and there is a fire Jizzo shrine, and this is one of the only shrines that we're gonna pick up. Did we autosave? Yeah, we autosaved right there. Essentially, the way I would normally try to take that line, right, is I would land up there, come over to here, come around this corner, and then you can get nice and close to this truck, and then head over to the Jizzo shrine. You'll notice, if you start running this game, that the game has a habit of eating your jumps and eating your glides. Sometimes it just won't let you glide, and you're not sure why. Just kind of have to work your way around it. Let's see if I can get him to do the... For some reason, he won't do the falling animation right now. So we're going to jump down here, and we're going to grab this. Nether Green Tea has attack boost every time. I don't fully understand how the food system works in this game. Sometimes it feels like I have the wrong thing equipped and I end up with the wrong bonus, even though I only picked up Nether Green Teas, but I don't know. I just have faith in the system. We're going to cleanse this, and we're going to get our Lady D jump scare, of course. I should mention, optional. If you've taken damage at this point, you can pop that Nether Green Tea as soon as you pick it up, and then head over here and start cleansing the shrine to get this animation. And with the attack boost, you'll need one less shot of fire in easy. It's sort of optional. You can save the Nether Green Tea for later. You can pop it now. We end up running into like 3 more throughout the run, so it's not we're not in short supply. It's sort of up to you. I kind of forgot that I had taken damage. If you haven't taken damage, then you can't heal, so it's kind of out of the question. But, yeah. We're just going to blast her down with fire. Perfect block if she throws an attack at you. If you tank it, it's not too big of a deal. And then we go straight into cleansing the Torii Gate. This is a pretty simple shrine. And we're going to pick up our good old water. And we shall be on our way. So, this is where the routing gets a little complicated. Should also mention, if you're short on fire, if you missed any of your shots, you can reload pretty quickly, just like that, and that'll put you back at full. So we have 6 shots from the Jizzo Shrine that we activated. We'll be passing by an optional Jizzo Shrine later in the route. First things first, after you ride that elevator, you're going to run over here, pick up the KK notes. This is the current route that I use. There's like 5 or 6 different ways you could do this at this point. It's sort of up to you how you want to do it. This is the way that works best for me. It's most consistent, and it seems to work pretty good. So we're going to come out of here. We're going to jump up here. Hopefully get a glide. Sometimes you don't. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but gliding is always faster than sprinting. So it's sort of important to the run that you're gliding as much as you can. And it does make a big difference on time. Then we're going to jump up here. This is sometimes a hard jump to make if it eats your jump. We're going to run up here. We're going to zip through here and climb onto this railing. We're going to run around here, and we want to land on this lamppost. It can be hard. It's not, I don't know, it's not the worst thing in the world. And as we jump off, we're going to aim at this Tengu, and we should be able to hit it. So we're going to jump off and glide, mash space while we aim, and we got it. Easy. And we're going to come around here, head up the building, Yeah, there's a few different ways to do this ascent now. It's sort of up to you which way you want to take. This way seems to work best for me. We're going to climb up there. Sometimes those climbs are hard to get. I have no advice for that. Akito is just sometimes like that. I don't know. And then we're going to come around here. And now we have to kill some dudes. It's a pretty straightforward shrine. So we're just going to miss all of our shots like that. I like to expose these 4 guys' cores. Grab their cores, and then everybody else hit them with the bow. Easy. 2 dudes, and then there's you. Sometimes she goes behind that fence for some reason. It's a pain in the ass. We're going to cleanse this gate, and we're going to head up here. You may have noticed I picked up some arrows there. Again, technically optional if you think you're fine on arrows. As soon as you pick up this talisman, you can actually start walking backwards. And in fact, you can actually turn around if you move your mouse. And as soon as we get out of this cutscene, we're going to actually pull out the talisman. The reason for this is if you don't have it out during this cutscene, there's a little delay before the game lets you pull it out. Ultimately, it's going to force you to pull it out anyway. So just have it out going into the cutscene. And then you can essentially just mash click, and it'll already be aiming in the right spot. And we're good. We don't have to fight her. We're going to pick up these investigation notes. We're going to jump onto this railing. Now this second one is a little bit harder. These props are always here. They're really helpful. Wow, I actually overshot it. You can use that to get up here. This jump is a little bit specific. So the way we're going to do this, there's a Tengu up there, but he's just slightly out of reach. However, if we jump, and as we're jumping, we turn this way. So we're just going to do like a slight right as we glide. That Tengu will be accessible. If you get it wrong, you're potentially going to fall all the way down there. So, you know, just like do it carefully, and if it looks like shit, then try and like push yourself further back up here so that way you don't fall all the way down. Worst case scenario, you fast travel back to that shrine. It's not that much. So anyway, you basically jump off, you aim up, and if you do it right, you can hit that Tengu, and we get all the way from down there up to here. And that cuts out a lot of the ascent. This ascent, doing it the intended way, or I guess the vanilla way, I should say. Another nether green tea right there, by the way. It's kind of a long slog. You may notice I'm running on railings a lot. That's because you have to be at a certain height in order to get your glide. If you're not jumping from a certain height, the game won't give you the option to glide at all, and you'll just fall. So here we're just going to equip these gust speeds, mandatory real quick. We are going to activate the binoculars. We're going to look down and just mash to interact with this. Pretty straightforward in this point in the route. I have a feeling for most people learning this, the troubles are really going to come, at least for me, like chapter 4 going into 5, like end of chapter 3. Like the route does get a little bit more complicated. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably just watching for those parts. So as soon as we get out of this, and you can actually just hold forward coming out of this, you're going to jump, and you want to wait to use your glide till you're close enough so that you don't get the falling animation. If you do it right, you end up back on the ground without doing the drop animation. Like, see how I put my hand on the ground like that? We want to avoid that wherever possible. And a lot of times when you're gliding, the game wants to give you that animation. So I'll demonstrate here. If we glide way too high, right? When we land, we're going to do that. And then you have to start running. So we want to avoid that basically wherever we can. Even this glide might have been too high. Yeah, so you want to try and not do that. We're just going to glide down here and head on into the subway. You do not have to check out the blue orb at all. We can just go straight to our destination. We're going to come down here. This route is rather straightforward. Mostly chilling. Ammo shouldn't really be a problem at this point. If it is, you can bop this. You get another 2 fire ammo, which is nice and easy. We're going to come down here. There's another KK note right here. This one's easy to miss. Do not forget that. It's important. So we're basically just stocking up on our skill points right now, and the next time the game forces us to open the map, we're going to use all of our skill points. Wow, I never get that glide there. I wouldn't recommend going for that, because it always ends up in the corner. So here, if you jump off the railing or the platform, you'll be able to glide. You can get it nice and smooth, just like that. Again, I can't explain all the details of good movement, because it is something you have to sort of learn. You'll figure out what you can reasonably expect to glide off of and what just never works. And the game is kind of picky about it. So like here, I sometimes don't get this glide for some reason. And then I usually end up falling, which loses a little bit of time. So this line, we actually, normally, we would glide from there basically to this railing, so that we could get another glide here. And then we can jump off this generator to get another glide. And I like to land on top of this thing. It's a bit of a swag strat. You don't have to do it to glide again. And we can basically glide almost the whole way to the waypoint. And now we're at the first boss. First boss, super easy. We're just going to lay into... All the bosses in this difficulty are pretty easy. We're going to lay into them. Usually I open up with like 2 or 3 of the wind shots, just so I know I'm not going to miss with my fire. And then you just dump fire into him. When he shows his shield, you have a choice. You can either shoot an arrow to break the shield instantly, or you can melee to break the shield instantly. Either way, you want to break the shield because it'll reward you with an extra fire energy. So we're just going to use that to lay into him with as much fire and spam him with wind when we run out of fire. That's basically the fight. It's very straightforward. If you're damaged here, you can pop an attack boost. I think I am, right? No, I'm not. I was going to say, if you're damaged here, you can pop an attack boost. I am not. So we're just going to start going at him. 3 shots with the green. Hit him with some red. He'll do this stagger animation a few times. He's going to give us the shield. We're going to pop the shield. It'll give us another fire shot. And that should be the fight. So all in all, it's like 4 or 5 shots of wind that are actually required. And then we're just going to skip this cutscene. Cool. Now this cutscene takes you straight back into here, so be ready to run. This jump coming up is a pain in the ass. I don't always kill that guy. So this jump sucks. Yeah. A lot of times when you try to do that jump, you're just gonna like bump into it and nothing will happen. Like that. And then even worse, these dudes get behind you and it becomes a problem. If you don't want to do this jump, there's an alternate. You can come up here and do that. If the jump's just not working out for you, it's fine. Ladders. So we have to explain ladders. If the game will let me up here, that'd be kind of sick. No? No? Is it too tight? Hang on. I just want to demonstrate something for the people. You know what? Alright, we're coming back down. We're gonna come up here. So let's say you did get the grapple. Like that. Ladders. Ladders are not interactable in, like, the top half of them. Because the interaction point is down below, you have to look down whenever you interact with ladders. You can grab ladders, like, midway through, but you have to look down in order to do it. So when we come over here, we look down, and we crouch, and we go like that, and that puts us halfway up the ladder. So we don't have to climb up the whole ladder, because ladders are slow in this game. Similarly, for this, I jump, and I look down, and it puts us basically at the top of the ladder. So now we just have a good old running section. You can punch those, it's not really necessary. We will use money, but money is very underused in this run. Like, there's... Whoa, okay, let's not fall off. I was trying to take the scary line for everybody, but instead I gave myself a heart attack. We're going to run through here. There's some arrows coming up that we're just going to scoop after we pass the blade lady. Sometimes she'll hit you, sometimes she won't. This guy, you don't want to insta-kill him. It's very easy to accidentally insta-kill him. You can just squeeze through and hit the door. But if you're not careful, you'll insta-kill him, and then you have to wait till that's over to get through the door. Bit of a pain in the ass. As soon as we get out of here, we're good to go. This is another jump that sometimes just doesn't want to work. See? So if that doesn't want to work for you, you can actually just run up here. Usually I'll give it like one try on a run, and if it doesn't work, I'm just like, fuck it, and do it the normal way. So we head through this way. There's a few different paths you can take. Ultimately, I wouldn't say it's even a noticeable time difference. This is the way I go. We're trying to get back to KK's apartment, so we can get KK back into our body. Gonna come up here, interact with the door, start holding Q to skip the cutscene, and as soon as you get out of the cutscene, we're gonna look down and to the left to pick up the talisman. It's gonna rotate your camera, and we hit the door again. And once again, as soon as we get outside, just like last time, we're gonna jump off. And now we follow the black smoke. Basically, you don't have to like stick with it. You can actually like kind of go off and do your own thing. In all missions, there's a tanuki over there, so we grab the tanuki. I wouldn't recommend doing that in any percent. So you can actually just kind of cut across, because we know the destination that he's going to end up going. He's going to come through here. And we're coming up on a bit of a troll shrine. I have a hard time getting the strat to work. When it works, I feel like a god. Let's see if it'll work first try for the tutorial. We're gonna get a cutscene here. Let's skip that. Don't need that. As soon as we get out, we're gonna start moving to the left. And we're gonna head into the shrine. We're gonna jump up here. We're gonna climb up there. Sometimes those climbs can be a little bit annoying. There are spare arrows there if you need them. I would say you shouldn't need them at this point. So we're gonna run up here. Well, we're going to get our arrow ready, and we're going to aggro everybody on the planet. So, that happens more often than not for me. But, I want to get it to work in a way that's actually, like, correct. No, I can. I can respond to chat. That's cool. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything. But yeah, I am going to be uploading and sort of editing this down for YouTube a little bit. So we come up here. Pull out our bow. We're gonna ready our bow, and we're gonna aggro everybody. Okay, if done right, and that is literally that is the correct line. That is what you do. I think it's just down to how they spawn in global cycles. I don't know, RNG, whatever. Worst case scenario, you have to kill all 3 of them. It's not that big of a deal, but if done correctly, you'll only have to kill the one near the door. This is kind of an annoying section, because you can't interact with the door until these 3 dudes are dead. Or, if you can get to the door without any of them noticing, or only one noticing, then you can interact with it immediately. So, and don't miss your shots here, because you do not have KK's abilities. So we're going to skip this cutscene, and we're going to get our wire in. And this is a good time to talk about wire in cancel. So, the game wants us to use our wire in. The way that wire-in works is you can actually, the wire-in slowly drains your wire-in bar. You can cancel that at any point, and it removes the slowdown effect part of the wire-in. So, essentially, when you do the wire-in, it does a bunch of damage to all the enemies that are currently there. And usually exposing most of the weaker enemies. What you can do is cancel the wire in once all the enemies are exposed, and then get their cores, and when you get all their cores, you'll recover most, if not all, of your wire in. You can essentially fully recover a wire in after using a wire in. So it's pretty valuable, especially at the end game if you find yourself low on ammo, and you're like, I don't know how we're going to get through this next section. You can always do a wire in cancel. So, game wants us to pop our wire in. We're going to hit the wire in button, right? So we press the wire in button with the wire in effect active. So the bar is currently draining, right? You'll see it in the lower right. We're going to expose everybody's cores. Or try to. Now, before we absorb their cores, we are going to press the wire in button again. So V. Now we're going to get their cores. And you'll see, if I didn't pause, in the lower right-hand corner, we have like 75% of our wire-in bar back. So we're basically good to go for another wiring. We're going to skip this cutscene. And we're basically just chilling here. It's like a double cutscene extravaganza. And this is where our next split would be, as we are moving on to the next chapter. So now, we can cleanse the gate. And once we cleanse the gate, you guessed it, we get another cutscene. Cool. Cutscene. Fun. So, here's where the route starts to get a bit fun. We're gonna jump off here and head this way, and you're gonna do a big old glide. Sometimes you'll bump into some tree branches. It's okay. You're gonna come up here, and there's a Tengu up here. And you can't grapple him until KK's dialogue ends. And we're basically gonna chain the Tengus right there. Now, remember how we acquired the Thicket Talisman earlier? It's only gonna come in use like twice throughout the run. So we're gonna use it here. To avoid having to kill this annoying laughing guy. So I have my Thicket Talisman key bound to X, just because it's the only time we need to pull out a specific talisman in the rest of the run. We don't need to use the talismans really other than that one mandatory time. Even this is technically optional. So we're going to zip over here, and as soon as you get down here, you're going to pop the talisman, and you're going to start cleansing the gate. And the reason is this guy. He's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to fight him. Nobody wants to fight him. Now we skip a cutscene, and as soon as we skip this cutscene, we're gonna jump off the roof and head to the other roof. Cool. So we're here. We're gonna jump around. This is where I think in the routing a lot of people start to get a little lost, which is understandable. And again, just trying to optimize your glides as best as you can. You know, try and land as close to the ground as you can and get into the next glide as soon as possible. Okay, as soon as we come out of that phone, very simple. We're going to Tengu up here. I've seen other people take a different route here, where you go up here and through here. This is the route I take. You can figure out your own if you want, but basically we glide along the edge to here, climb up to this building. Now we're going to jump around here. Normally you would do that line up faster. We jump over to here, we get on top of this soda machine, jump over here. And this grab just never works, and I think it's because my frames always drop here. Your experience may vary. And we're just going to climb through here. We're going to punch that cat so that we get the monies for later. I've debated whether climbing up here and going for a glide is worth it. I don't know if it is. It's up to you. Now, here, we are at the mercy of these Tengus. These Tengus fly from one spot to the other. Sometimes they spawn in the right spot, sometimes they don't. Sometimes, as soon as you get there, they're flying to the correct spot. This is the one I usually just wait a couple seconds for, grapple up here. And then once we're up here, we can zip over to this door, like that. If you ever find yourself in a glide, and you don't want to be in the glide, you can punch to cancel it, or you can block to cancel it. Either one will work. I should also mention, so whenever we do this, that animation takes a while, right? Did we actually just hit it down there? I didn't realize you could do that. It's actually kind of sick. So whenever you do this, there's a long animation, right? So instead of doing that, you can cancel that so that you're ready to go and able to fire your next shot. Does it actually? Wow, that's actually really useful. So, something we just learned here today, doing this tutorial. As you're running past these vending machines, you're going to want to hit your ability. It's going to save you a little bit of grief later on. So we're going to run down here. There's going to be a forced camera thing, and that's why it's nice to be able to shoot that early. And we're going to come over here and open that. Wow, new strats. Discovered right here. Yeah, I would recommend doing that. We're gonna come over here, and you probably have been wondering, yo, what are you gonna do with all those skill points, my guy? Well, we're gonna use them. So, you're gonna run in there and pick up those investigation notes. And while the investigation note prompt is still on your screen, and this is important, you're gonna press M. The reason for this is because this way, it doesn't take you into the map. If it took you into the map right now, it's going to show you like 20 shrines or something on the map. It's going to take forever. Like 18 side quests and 2,000 shrines, dude. We don't want that. So you're going to press M while it's showing you like the database entry, and then you're going to head over to skills. Do not press map. I've done this in a run. It sucks. Also, Nemayoki, what's up, dude? So we're going to head over to skills. You should have 100 skill points at this point. If you don't, you've probably missed an investigation note somewhere. Usually, what I upgrade, and you can kind of experiment with this, I would not recommend any charged attack, but usually here's what I go for. So I go like this, I go like that, I get this one. I'm trying to remember, do I get this? No, I don't. So we get 2 wind weaving speed boosts. This will just help with our firing rates. We get the piercing upgrade for fire weaving, which is going to come in handy in like 10 seconds. And then we upgrade our quiver boost as much as we can so that we have the max capacity for arrows. Pretty simple. So 2 wind upgrades, your fire piercing, max arrows. And you should already have your bow speed boost from the earlier upgrade that we got. So now we're going to run through here. Once again, you need to use your ability. So we're going to do this, cancel, start absorbing our door yokai. And as soon as we do, we can come over here and shoot this. And we're going to run out here. We're going to deal with these guys. So usually, these guys never line up for me correctly. You can have them line up in a way like that so that you can get both those shots off in one. It just never really seems to work for me. And then we just dust off that guy with the good old wind, and we're good to go. We open that, and we're heading through. Simple.
¿De verdad crees que hay algo que genera la niebla?
Dinko lleva investigándola desde que la conozco.
I'm trying to sort of over-explain a little bit, but I hope it's not getting in the way of the route in general, because I know it is a complicated route, but once, you know, if you run through it a few times, you'll figure it out pretty quickly.
Otra vez.
Eso significa que vamos bien. Deberías alegrarte.
No sabes cuánto.
La gente con afinidad por el éter puede verlo.
Just running through here. You know you're going the right way because you get all kinds of fun sanity effects. Now we're going to find this red guy at the end of the hallway, and you want to bop him in the head. It's annoying when he doesn't do the stagger animation. 2 headshots will take him out. Try not to miss. We're just kind of cruising through here. Not much in the way of interesting stuff you can do. There's another nether green tea we can pick up, and then we're gonna head into this cutscene. Now, this gauntlet section is required, so like every wave you kill spawns the next wave. If the current wave still has an enemy alive, the next wave won't properly spawn. There are a few little, like, subtleties to that, where sometimes 2 out of 3 will spawn the next wave. It feels like the timings get a little messed up sometimes, and I can't fully explain it. But for the most part, we're going to be taking care of these dudes just sort of as fast as we can. So for the first set of dudes, I usually hit 2 of them with a water, if they'll line up for it. Like that. And then we expose this guy's core. We get those 3 guys. For the next set of dudes, I usually hit them with a fire charged up.
¿Podéis dejarlo para otro momento?
We wait until she spawns, because she takes a little bit to spawn. And then... oh, there we go. We get those. The next 2 are going to appear right down the middle here. And these are easy to hit. Or should be. Yeah. We get these. Wow, okay. That usually doesn't happen. If things start to go to shit, I recommend just hitting them all with the wind, because you have faster firing now. Next group's going to be over here. Oh. was a little scuffed, but you get the point. Next two are going to appear down center. These two are really easy to hit. And then for this last dude, we're going to hit him with 2 bow and arrow to the face on one of these. And make sure to pick up his money. It's important that you actually... Wow, they didn't line up for me at all. It's important that you actually pick up his money. Do not leave it sitting there. Feel like a dummy when you don't have enough money later on. I usually just try and replenish as much energy from the objects in the room as I can. And then we're out. Easy. Easy peasy section. That section can be far more optimized than that, but basically the gist is kill the enemies as fast as you can. You know, it's worth practicing a couple times to get the hang of where enemies spawn and the timings. Sometimes if they're doing the spawn in animation, you can't kill them immediately. So, yeah. You know. Now we're going to come over here. And we're going to coast around to here. I'm just going to try and get as many glides as we can in a way that works. Oh, see, like that was a little unfortunate. And we're going to come over here, and this is our first and only shopping trip in this run. We're just going to come to this dude, and we're going to buy his whole supply of arrows. Fantastic. Easy. We're going to head over here. There's some investigation notes. We're going to pick those up. But first, we're going to do this. So, this section will leave you wherever you are when you finished cleansing the shrine. So, what I like to do here is I like to run forward a little bit and aim this way. And as soon as we get out of this cutscene, we can fire a single shot, and we'll hit this first thing. So, that was the first one. Easy. Now we're going to come over here. We're going to hit this one. We can't grapple until KK finishes talking, as usual. There we go. We're going to come over here. These shots are a little bit hard to hit. You can do that. There's a few different ways you can do this section. There is a thing back there. Trust me. It's there. We're going to hit it. Trust me. There we go. Oh, no. I think I'm aiming too low. Oh my god, please. Oh my god. Alright, I don't think I was far back enough. Yeah, so you want to be a little bit far back, so you're not hitting the building like I am. Much better. Okay, cool. 15-second penalty for hitting a sign. Oh, dude, I think we are on a deep, deep penalty. We're gonna grab this. This section is timed anyway. We can't do anything. So, it's fine to pick those notes up later. Gonna come over here. We're gonna bop this. And you'll see, we have to wait for the ID to spawn anyway. Hope you're doing well, Hip. We're gonna pick that up, and as soon as we do, we can take off this way. You do not need to investigate the other phone booths. There is no purpose to it. Oh, and our jump got eaten there, which is really fun. These dudes are RNG. Sometimes they're... yeah. Sometimes they're in the right spot. Sometimes they're not. That was not exactly the right spot. Sometimes you can get them all with one single explosion. Yeah, I'm doing good. We are just doing our tutorial for this run. We're going to skip this dialogue. And as soon as we get out of the call, we can jump up here. Head up here. I think this is where a lot of people probably tend to get lost on the route. We're just going to come over here. You can get a glide off of that fence, but I kind of messed up. We're going to go for the arrows on her. So, if you hit her in the face, not like I did, she'll drop out of the sky, and then it's pretty easy to pop her in the head while she's still staggered. We are going to pick up this recorder. And as soon as we have the recorder, we are going to look at the map. I know I said we're not supposed to do it. We're going to look at the map for the first time. Y'all ready? Get cozy. Yep. I mean, given that we don't really have any breaks in the run, this is a good time to, like, grab a drink, you know, hydrate. Fantastic. So as soon as we come out of this, we want to fast travel to the Kuo Shrine, which will take us back to the roof where we got the talismans. Talisman? Talismanes. Oh yeah, hello YouTube. Yeah, YouTube gets to see the chat, that's fine. Oh, usually we get a glide there. And we're just going to head down here. And remember what I said about canceling our glides? We're just going to cancel that one. So we get down here as fast as possible. And when done correctly, you won't even have the prompt yet for a few seconds. So we're just sitting here mashing F until it gives us the prompt. You have to wait until that voice line happens, otherwise the game will not let you fast travel. I actually might have done it a little bit too fast. So once we get the key, we're just going to head back to the same shrine that we were just at, which is the Utagawa Shopping District Shrine. Now here, it's going to be a little weird. We're going to look up, and there's a Tengu there, even though he's not there. He takes a couple seconds to spawn in, but we don't care about that. You can still grapple on them even before they've spawned in. Oh my god, don't body block me. So we're going to head up here. There's a few ways you can take this route, too. It's up to you how you want to do it. Wow, we got a speed boost from that guy. It's fun. I like to go above the bridge. Ultimately, we're trying to get to the balcony on the 3rd floor. You can drift around here and actually end up on the 3rd floor, but I'm not skilled enough for that. We're going to come up here. Oh, this ledge grab sucks. For some reason, it's always a pain in the ass. There we go. You just kind of have to swoosh right in eventually. You can hit this early, and that'll expose the core. If you come around this corner, you can actually... Oh my god. I can't, but you can hit that. And KK is going to give us some dialogue, and it's going to move the camera. F that. We're just going to interact straight with the door and unlock it. That's just a little bit faster than having to wait for the KK dialogue. We're going to run over here. We're going to hit our ability. And cutscene break. Actually, I'm going to get another beverage.
La recuerdo del hospital. Estaba con él.
Alright.
Sabía que era una impostora.
So now we just have to run outside. There's a little timer here, so it's not even much rush. But immediately we have another cutscene. Visually, one of the coolest parts of the run coming up. But there's not much in terms of stuff you gotta do. It's pretty much just run forward. Easy peasy. It's kind of nice when the run becomes linear for a little bit. Because for the most part, it's not. So we're off as soon as we regain control. We're gonna have another one of those janky cutscene things where it moves our camera. It's annoying. As soon as we get up here, hit our ability, pop that. I've claimed that it's faster to jump upstairs because it feels that way. Unverified. I don't know. So you'll probably see me jumping up escalators and stuff like that. Just gonna run through here. Again, this part is just, you know, get through without getting stuck on stuff. Make sure you pay homage to the cat. Homage. Once again, for these ladders, we want to look down as we jump into them, so that we can at least climb a little bit higher. And this is going to be the second and last hand seal in the game. We're going to use the same trick that we used on the door, where we're going to interrupt the animation, and then we're just going to hold tab. So watch my keyboard overlay. We're gonna hold tab, and as soon as we get to the end, boom, easy. And then you can start running here, because as soon as we get out of this cutscene, Akito keeps his run. We're gonna jump up here, we're gonna glide through here, and once we're in range, you can do that actually way earlier, and it kind of just zips you over to the cutscene. Fantastic. Now we run over to this phone, and cutscene skip.
Vamos a por esas nuevas puertas, Tori.
Now we're gonna immediately run over here and hit this Tengu as soon as it'll let us. You can actually run closer, so that way it'll give you the prompt. We're gonna head over here. We got some ghosty boys. I meant to use my bow on her. And then for these guys, we're just gonna old-fashioned wind. Easy peasy. Now we're gonna run over here, jump on this roof, drift over to here. This is just, you gotta practice it. You want to land on top of this, on top of this post. It's a very minor skip. Don't sweat it if you don't land on top. You can actually just traverse this. Make sure you have a healing item just in case. But you can totally run through this fog. It's not that long. So we're just gonna zip through here and get over to there. Once you're up here, there's going to be this dude that spawns. You can't use the same trick as before, unfortunately. The good old bush strats do not work. So 3 shots to that dude's face, and he's gone. We're going to run over here. We can reload our fire ammo a little bit. I never get a glide off here, and I don't know why. There we go. We actually got it. Wow. We're going to come over here, and usually for these 2 dudes, I do that. Oh, and then for the last one, bow and arrow to the face. I was very slow there, and I missed. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. And as soon as you cleanse this gate, start running through here.
Vale, ya está.
And now we are going to head up the mountain towards our next boss fight. This next boss fight does have a bit of RNG. Sometimes it works out in your favor. I'm just going to show the concept of it, and you can sort of play with it and figure it out. I would recommend running through it enough times that you understand how it can go kind of like wrong and how to deal with it. So we're going to skip this cutscene, head into the shrine, or into the rock. And also keep in mind, everything I've been explaining, like, there's a lot that can change in this run. It's still, as of the time of recording this video, it is a new game. There's still plenty of stuff that can be played with. So, you know, have fun with it. If you find a route that, like, kind of works, post it in the Discord. Let us all know. So we're going to skip this and commence the fight. I would say probably watch how a few other runners are doing this, because I don't guarantee I'm going to get it perfectly on my first try. But, yeah. Run over here. So, if she aggroes you, this first spot is always guaranteed. If she aggroes you, there's actually a little animation that she does where she's, like, notices you, like that. And we actually don't want that animation. If she just keeps walking cleanly towards the explosive, it's much better. But yeah, basically the routine is going to be stun her with explosive, and then run behind her and grab one of her tails. And we're just going to do that 3 times. Easy enough, as long as she's in the right spots. See, this is kind of one of the weird spots, because now she's not aggro to us, and she's kind of just fucking off down the hallway. If we're lucky, you can kind of recover it like that, Otherwise, you'll have to aggro her and pull her back towards one of the explosives. Now, I think she's going to be on this side. She might have been so far over. No, yeah. So for this one, I do want to aggro her, because otherwise she would just go down that hallway. She's probably close enough here. The range on these explosives is actually kind of huge. And we're just going to get behind her and get her last tail. Easy enough. Good punch at KK a few times. Doesn't hurt. And boom, that's the chapter. Oh, so an interesting thing just happened there. You may notice that the mission complete there was much faster than all the rest. For some reason, mission 3, or chapter 3 going into chapter 4, that mission complete screen, if you're holding down the cutscene skip button, it just goes away extra quick. I don't know why it is. It happens to everybody. It's consistent, but we don't really know why. Anyway, as soon as you get out of that cutscene, you're going to jump down here and glide over to this phone. I used to get lost in this section the first good few times I did this run, but it's so much more straightforward than what I made it out to be. So we're going to head over here and just glide along these cars in a straight line up this road. We're going to get... There we go. Yeah, this is a very straightforward route. It's just, I don't know. I had a lot of trouble with this part of the run for some reason. Because it doesn't really tell you, like, where you're supposed to go. It's just, like, cleanse some shrines, dude. There's a girl there. We really don't want to aggro her, because that puts a damper on this cleansing. We're just going to come over here, cleanse that shrine. I would recommend running through that section a few times, just so you figure out, like, sort of what you can and can't get away with in terms of a line. We can just ignore her. We're going to head over here. We are going to jump up here. You can try and grapple up this, but it sucks. It rarely ever works. So I just come over here because it's consistent, and we have to go this way anyway. So I go up here, go like this. You can use bush strats for this if you want. It's up to you. You can do this, and then they'll unaggro, and you can cleanse the gate. It's totally up to you. As long as you have one bush for later, that's the important part. So you can totally do that. The camera's going to do a thing here, and you want to make sure you're sitting still for that. If you're gliding while the camera switches, you're going to have a bad time. So similar to the last one, and only do this if you have the bushes available. We're just going to do that again. Easy peasy. Once you do this, we're going to head over to this building, right? Because the last shrine we need is over there before we can get down to the big shrine. Okay? So we're going to come over here, hop over here, and this climb, for some reason, it's very easy to hit. You'll never miss that climb. Or, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's very hard to miss it. And then as soon as we get that, we're going to head down to here and initiate this little gauntlet section. So first set of dudes are going to spawn over here. We can charge up a water shot in advance and just pop. That guy should have been closer, but that's fine. Next set of dudes are going to be over here. Okay, yeah, just interrupt me. That's fine. I should mention, if you are low on ammo here, this is a good point to use your wire in, because you can get a lot of quick and easy kills. For this last one, I like to pop a attack boost here. She's kind of annoying. And see how we ran out of ammo just like that? So I probably should have hit my wire in on the second clump of dudes. It's okay. We will have an opportunity to do it later. We're going to skip this cutscene. Cleanse the gate. Now we're just going to head right past here. Don't even try to grab this fence.
¿Eso se puede hacer?
It sucks. Every time you grab it, you end up falling past it. If you do get the grab, just run over to this rock and jump up here. It's so much better. I don't know why that fence is so janky. We're just gonna and we're just gonna fall off everything. We're just gonna glide across here. And we are heading to the bike. If you've made it this far in the video and you're following along at home, congratulations. You're actually almost done with the run. It goes very straightforward for the last like 12 minutes. We're gonna come down here. You do not have to turn on the light in this section. So screw going that way. We're just gonna go this way. You can do this section in the dark. If you need the flashlight, you can turn it on. You probably won't need the flashlight. It's pretty bright.
Usa la visión espectral. Nunca sabes lo que puedes encontrar. En ese cuarto.
We're gonna head through here, and we're gonna get 2 separate cutscenes. First one, as soon as we get down, and then once we pick up the phone, we shall get another one. Boom. Skip that. Don't need no stinking cutscenes. And then we start heading to the left, back up the stairs.
Aún no. Vamos a buscar algún punto alto para divisar la zona. Por aquí lo más alto.
Unfortunately, all these enemies despawn as soon as you activate the cutscene, so we don't have to deal with anything. I'm just gonna hit some of that stuff. That's optional. Like, you know, at any given point, gauge your ammo. If you see some explosive things around, or you just want some extra wind shots, I would recommend doing it.
Oye, Ed suele comunicarse con grabaciones como la de antes.
Okay. So, we're gonna come out of here. We're gonna remember the route. Right, we're gonna come out of here. There's a shrine that we need to cleanse up here. Sorry, my brain was in all missions mode for a second. We're gonna come around here. There's a few ways you can enter this shrine. You could enter that way and cleanse that gate immediately. It's sort of up to you how you want to handle this. Yo, Hammy, what's up, dude? So I'm gonna run up here, and we're kind of low on bow and arrow shots, but we'll deal with it. So it's easy to get that first headshot off, and then once they're on the ground, it's kind of easy to get the second one. Just getting in. Yo, nice. Hope you're doing well, man. And then hopefully we don't aggro the other lady. Perfect, we didn't. We're gonna come over here, go pop, and then we're gonna go pop. Oh, and we're gonna whiff. Her hair gets in the way sometimes. The fact that we do not have arrows at this point, or we're very low on arrows, is more or less fine. It would be nice to have some extras just in case you miss some shots or something. But if you're not me, then you're probably landing all your shots like a legend. So we're gonna wait through this cutscene, or skip this cutscene, and then we're gonna start heading this way. So, just to be clear, from that shrine, because this section does get kind of confusing. From that shrine, the small gate on the ground, we want to head this way. So that's why I like to save that gate for last, just because it's closest to where we end up needing to go. From here, I grapple this Tengu. If you walk a little bit too far here, you're going to get hurt by the fog. Don't worry, it's fine. We're going to come over here. Hopefully this works. Yeah, so the game ate my jump a little bit. It's okay. There we go. Yeah, if you get that jump, this is totally a free glide. But if you don't get that jump, it's kind of rough. I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to head this way. There's a few different ways you can take for this. I've sort of experimented and found this way works for me. Ultimately, as long as you get to the destination in a timely fashion, that's the important part. Oh, there we go. We're gonna head to this elevator. And then we're gonna jump off, head to this elevator. Once again, if you are low on ammo, there's a fire explodey over there for you. And there's a delay on being able to use this, so you won't lose any time. So we're gonna look at the gate first, and then we're gonna look at the car.
¡Qué cochazo! Le podremos sacar una rueda de turbina.
Y tal vez algo de gasolina.
Similar to the last binoculars, we're just going to immediately jump off the roof.
Vale, ya sabemos dónde hay.
And I would recommend hitting that Tengu, just because Tenguing is faster than falling, or faster than gliding. So you can just quickly Tengu to both of those. You can land on here if you want to be swaggy about it, or you can just land on top of the car.
¿Por dónde empezamos?
It's up to you. Just try and glide, you know, as much as you can.
Tienen un bidón de gasolina.
So there's going to be a cutscene when the game fades to black here. Make sure you're holding your cutscene skip button.
Esta rueda de turbina no vale. La...
Now we get the good old bow and arrow gauntlet. Remember how I said it doesn't matter that you're low on arrows before? This is why. Because this is a good chance to replenish our arrows. There's also another green tea we can pick up. I'm going to scoop the arrows. It makes you, like, kind of look at KK, so make sure you do that. You can pop an attack boost here if you want. In fact, I'm going to, just because I can. If you're not damaged here, then obviously you can't. So it's really just a matter of circumstance. The way this works is just don't miss your shots. It's pretty self-explanatory. Not much I can help you optimize here. We just shoot. Keep an eye on your arrows. Make sure you aren't low on arrows. These little schoolgirls are a pain in the ass because they move so goddamn quick. There we go. The grind never stops. That's the truth, dude. So I like to save this left explosive for when the big dude spawns in. Wow, that was a good whiff. Come on. Oh my god. So once this guy gets close enough, hit him with the explosion. He's gonna start attacking you as soon as you attack him. Fortunately, he's very easy to dodge. Oh, and then I like to hit this explosive, if I remember. There we go. Just because it helps with, her. Oh. Now, important, before you finish this section, make sure you reload on arrows. So we have 20 arrows right now. Make sure you do that before you fuse with KK. Or if you have enough time, run back up and do it after. But I would recommend doing it before, just so you don't forget. Because we will need arrows just for the next section, and then from then on, in the run, we no longer need arrows, really. So we're going to come out of here, and we're going to head up here, and immediately, we can start popping these dudes. Can we shoot through these bars? I've never tested. Oh yeah, you can. It's fun. And then we have a red dude. Just going to pop him in the head a couple times. Easy peasy. Everybody dead. Groovy. And we can cleanse the gate. We can answer the phone. Oh. We can skip that dialogue. So for the phone dialogue, you'll have to mash your skip key. There's another free fire here if you so choose. And then here, I like to Tengu up here. This is another section where you can kind of figure out your own route. As long as you're getting there in a timely fashion, it doesn't really matter. There is almost always a death parade that spawns here. Avoid the death parade. If you get too close to it, especially since it's the first one, KK has like a whole dialogue that he takes you through, and you don't want that. So avoid the death parade if you get it there. And then we head up here, and we head into the underworld. Fantastic. So remember how I said it's important that you have at least one bush remaining? This is where it's going to come in handy. Don't pull it out immediately, but we're going to need it. So we're going to jump up on this rock, and you can climb up there pretty easily. And we're going to head over here. We're going to take some damage. If you need to heal here, do it, because there's a chance this goes south. We're going to pop that corruption, and this section does have to happen kind of fast. And then we're going to drop that bush. And I like to get a little bit out of the doorway. And if we did it right, she won't even come in. And then we can just activate the cutscene. And we are on our way. So I like to pop a attack boost here. And then we get to pick up another one for free. which is perfect. Now we're just going to DPS this lady down with fire. Good old-fashioned fire versus ice. So once you get low on shots, you can pop that. And easy done. She's dead. We can do that to replenish some of our fire shots. And just start running out of this, because it teleports you back. And we can replenish all of our fire right here. No matter how many shots that took you, you should be able to get back to max fire, which is good. Oh, and it ate my jump. So yeah, you can glide basically to the exit if you do that correctly. The game kind of ate my jump a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. Alright, as soon as we come out of this, we are ready to fast travel, which means we have to look at the map again. And you can basically just mash the map as soon as possible. And now we wait. Good old map. And you may notice we have 60 skill points here. And this is where, actually, realistically, we could have dumped our skill points earlier. The important thing is, wherever you want to do it when the map is forced to be up. That's the whole point. So that you never have to pull up the map and accidentally look at icons that ultimately you're going to be eliminating. So what you do here is kind of up to you. I like to get the last upgrade for fire weaving. And then I like to get the last upgrade to fire shots. Oops. And then we actually have to look at the map after that upgrade. I forgot. So now we're going to head down to here. This is actually the water shrine. So it's the Yashin shrine. This is the water shrine that we were at earlier in the game. We're going to immediately run this way. We're going to activate the elevator again. Oh. And get out of the elevator successfully. This time we're going to go left. And our destination is very close by. So that's a pretty nice fast travel. I've theorized about activating this cat to activate a fast travel spot, because it does put you closer. But I don't know if it saves time, because you kind of have to go a little bit out of your way to hit the cat, unless, you know, the route kind of changes. But it's sort of up to you. It is an open world game. There are many, many ways you can tackle this speedrun, which is kind of the fun of it. So we're just going to run through here. This dude, he does not really aggro you at all. It's totally fine. I say that, he's going to aggro me for the first time in my life. No, we're good. We just examine the car. Then we have a little cutscene. Now, as soon as this cutscene ends, I would say this is an optional strat. We're going to pull up the map again, and we're going to fast travel back to the entrance. And it's just a little bit faster than running back, because it puts us right here. Easy peasy. If you want to run back, you can. It's totally up to you. Now, for our final fast travel spot, we're heading to the garage again. It's right... I sometimes forget where this fast travel spot is, and I, like, frantically have to look around the map. It's right by the Onten Shrine, okay? So, that's where the garage is. You'll figure it out. And then we're gonna run forward, head inside. We're gonna hop down. And we're basically at the end of the run. This is a good time to check stock of what you got, because you can kind of plan for the future. Because we're gonna have to deal with about 3 bosses in these last few sections. Having a wire in here is good. It's not necessary by any means. And it's not actually useful in one of the bosses, unless you just want to kind of waste it. Yeah. We're gonna head off on the bike as soon as it gives us the prompt. Skip another cutscene after this mission complete screen. We're we're heading into the second to last chapter. If you made it this far, and you're watching on YouTube, we're almost there. Congratulations. Oh. Split, please. There we go. So for this, this section is kind of weird. Because sometimes I can get the glide off of this railing, other times I can't. So I like to jump onto this motorcycle, which guarantees the glide. And we glide right into this cutscene, basically. We skip the cutscene. We proceed. You can experiment with different lines here. I would say avoid anything that has a climbing animation, because the climbing animation takes a little bit, but it's up to you. We're just kind of heading over here to trigger this cutscene. And now we have another boss fight. Good old boss fight coming up.
Así que era Erika lo que mantenía a Rinko atada a este mundo. Y una vez resuelto todo.
So, is it gonna let me save here? I want to make a save just in case I totally botch this and I want to do it again.
¿Va a pasar lo mismo?
Probablemente.
Skip a cutscene and head straight to the boss. And as soon as the boss starts, we are going to shoot a few wind shots just to expose the cores, and we're just going to start laying into them with fire. Now, it doesn't matter if you run out of ammo. The important thing is that you run out of ammo when the core is sort of ready to be exposed, because we'll get a recharge or reload. So that was kind of scuffed. So as soon as we do this, we get a reload. I kind of want to do that again, because that was pretty rough. We can actually shoot this from down here. And then as soon as it gets us the prompt, we can grab the core. So let's do that again, because you can actually expose both of those cores, like, straight away. And I want to kind of try and do it just for demonstration purposes. You can also watch my PB if you want to see an example of it done in a run. So fight starts. We're going to lob some wind shots just to expose. And then we're going to start laying in. Oh, and I whipped one. That should expose. There we go. Yo, Ethan. Hope you're doing well, man. And then we're going to get our fire back. Once again, not really optimal. One more time. This is definitely a boss worth practicing. We are currently doing a tutorial/guide for YouTube, so that other people can perhaps learn how to do this run. Okay. This will be the one. You can also hit an attack boost upgrade here if you have the items to spare, and I technically do. So I probably should have done that. There we go. Okay, so now we have both cores exposed. So this is sort of what I was trying to do the first time. So we can take that core, and then immediately... I was too late. You can immediately get the other core. As long as she doesn't fall back on the ground. But that's the concept, right? I think I've demonstrated what you should go for. If you want to see it done correctly, you can watch my run. But that's the gist of it. You want to DPS both of those cores down in a way that you can have them exposed, like, immediately. An all missions guide? Oh, that would require actually knowing the route for all missions, which I can't confidently say I do. Now, pretty straightforward. We're heading into Tokyo Tower. We have another boss fight, so it's definitely, if you don't have any ammo, there's some signposts over there. Those will restore some of your fire shots. I would definitely recommend running over there and punching those if you're completely out of ammo, have no wire in, like, if you're screwed for the next section. Definitely do that. I'm just gonna head up this escalator.
Mari, ¿qué estás diciendo?
Another cutscene skip.
¿De verdad te sientes así?
You can also hit this. This usually has a fire in it too.
Te equivocas.
if you need
Te
one.
equivocas.
And now we have the elevator. We're just chilling in the elevator for the next 30 seconds. This is where you can think about how good this run is, or how bad this run is.
Es que ni de lejos.
You can really reflect on it.
Que si me dejaba
Actually, we're going to have another section where we can reflect on it for like 7 minutes, but
mi familia.
we'll get there.
Apenas me dejaba ver por casa. Era como si fuéramos unos desconocidos. Últimamente, cuando le llevaba un regalo a mi hijo, ni siquiera le interesaba. Hasta dejaron de importarle los superdeportivos esos.
¿Qué?
Pero no pienso huir de esta batalla. Voy a protegerlos cueste lo que cueste.
We're going to skip a cutscene as soon as that's over. We get another boss. So pretty much the same as last time, except this time he has 2 phases. Just gonna smack him with the fire. I'm gonna hit this attack boost upgrade. We're gonna bop that, so that way we get a fire shot back. And that should give him the core. Do you dare? I would recommend it. It's a fun run. Hope you're doing well, Bill. So we're gonna get all of our ammo back. What I like to do while he's doing this animation, because we can't hurt him, is I just break all those for later. And then as soon as he gets the shield gone, you can start going to town again. Oh. Sometimes you can't punch his shield, and I don't understand that. And that should be the end. That's that boss down. Now, what I like to do is you can collect on all of these, just to try and replenish a little bit more ammo before the final boss. Another cutscene skip, once again. And we're heading into the final chapter. Good old walking simulator section. Get cozy. So currently, at the time of recording this, there is no way to skip this section. It is just like a 7-minute walking simulator section. There's not really much to talk about. You'll notice, if you look at the keyboard overlay, I do a thing getting into rooms where, like, I let go of our directional for a little bit, and then I repress them. And that's just to prevent the walk or the run from being dropped in the next section. So, like, I did it there. We interacted with the door, I let go of my keys. Once Akito started going through the door, then I repressed. Sometimes the game will drop your forward input if you're just holding it going into the door. I don't know what that is. It's super annoying. So now we're just chilling. You can kind of line yourself up with the door and then take a sip of your beverage. So we can't run in any of the indoor sections, but as soon as we get to the outdoor sections, you can run. Yeah, right? Yeah, totally. So here, since we're outside, I pressed shift, also pressing the directional as we open the door, and that way we get the sprint straight away. If you hold W and only W going into that, even if you're already holding shift going into it, you won't start off sprinting. It's a pain in the ass. I don't know why it is. It's one of those things that you will see what I mean if you do the run yourself. So I did it again there. Basically, every door that we go into where we end up outside, I'm going to be doing that let go and then repress sort of technique. So I think this is another indoor. Yep. So this one doesn't really matter. It'd be really cool if somebody could find a way to skip this, because this is kind of... The game has so much momentum in the speedrun, because you're like, boss fight, and then 7-minute walking section. And then another cool boss fight, but like, you know. I think I've covered most of what I want to cover. I missed, there's a Jizzo statue that we can get on the way, another fire Jizzo statue, that I did not mention, but I totally wanted to mention it. I don't grab it in my run, I don't think. you can totally grab it if you want. It's up to you. Having the extra shot doesn't make too much of a difference, although, like, I say that, it probably does make a little bit of a difference.
Parece que fue hace una eternidad.
Honestly, I might grab it in future runs going forward. See, so there, I pressed W too early, and even though I was holding shift to sprint, the game didn't let me sprint. So you want to be kind of careful. If and when you play through this section, you'll see the jankiness that I'm talking about. It's not the worst thing in the world, but something to keep in mind.
Pues claro que sí. No seas siempre tan negativa.
Yeah, it's like, if you're on a good run, and it's, like, close to not being a good run, you're like, oh, man. Then, like, since we don't have an auto-splitter, you're sort of like, every chapter split is, like, 15 minutes apart, so...
Pues sí, llevábamos tiempo sin ir a un festival. ¿Por qué?
No apartes la mirada, Akito.
Once again, back to walking. The sections where you can run are kind of a breath of fresh air, and then you go back to, like, laundromat, I have to walk again. So in this section, there's a few heal pickups. I would say, like, if you're still learning the run, maybe just scoop them all just in case if you're having trouble. That's the important one. There's another green tea at the very end. That'll give us the attack boost that we like. Oh, see, I messed up the run there, too. You can cut this pretty tight around those tombstones. It's funny, it's a reverse guest house, right? Because, like, guest house is, like, first 15 minutes of the RE7 run. You're kind of like, oh man, I just want to get to, like, the real run. And this is, like, the inverse of that. You're like, oh man. Walking simulator. For these stairs, I like to stay to the left, because if you don't, you kind of, like, bounce. I don't know if it's faster or not, but I don't like the bouncing. It bothers me. The inverse guest house. So for this section, the game actually kind of lets you wander out a bit. The invisible wall, like, starts here. But you can actually kind of, like, skirt around this stuff. And I think that is faster than following the path they intend. It's just, there's a lot of rocks and little roots and stuff that you can get stuck on. So I would say experiment with this section. It's probably the one part you can kind of optimize in this whole walking segment, really. Besides, obviously, just sort of taking clean lines. But we're almost there.
Akito.
Estoy bien. Solo tengo que encontrar a Mari.
Eso es. Tienes que protegerla.
Sí. Ya basta de huir.
Just climbing a mountain. NBD.
Debe de llevar a algún sitio.
You can get a little sprint there before you have to crouch again. And then we're going to skip 2 cutscenes, and we're into the final boss. Now, the final boss. It's just a case of DPSing the faces down as quick as possible. I'm pretty sure there's a faster way to do this than the way that we currently do in the runs. But for the most part, you kind of have to wait for it to stop moving a bit. Otherwise, you're just going to be yeeting those fire shots into nothing. So a few wind shots and 2 fires should be enough to get the face exposed. I've debated whether shooting them as they're going away. I don't think that does anything. I think that actually does no damage. So for this first horde, I like to do a fire charge. If you wanted to do a wiring cancel, this would be the time to do it. Oh my god, I messed up. I messed up so bad. Yeah, you could wire in those guys and make it nice and easy on yourself, probably. But it's up to you. Then once again, just want to DPS those faces down. Ugh. See, like, missing shots like that is sort of annoying. There's probably a super fast way you could get this boss down. I don't know if anybody's done it on a run yet. Let me absorb. We're just gonna fire shot on the Lady D lady. And then we're just gonna take these dudes down with wind shots. Oh. Yeah, you can get a few shots in there, and I'm pretty sure those count. It's really hard to have them land. There we go. And that's kind of how you want to do the final boss fight. I would say experiment with it. You'll get a feel for it. We're going to skip this last cutscene, and we're going to head into the final walking section. Now, for some reason, my FPS on OBS dies here every time, without fail. You don't actually have to walk. The quest says keep moving forward. You don't have to do that. We're just waiting. Yeah, right? I was on the right side for the respawn on that last phase, which is kind of surprising. Anyway, we're just going to wait. Time will end when we skip the final cutscene. So similar to the first one, as soon as the orange circle is filled, that's when we can end time. So, I'm skipping the cutscene. End. Obviously, not a PB. Who knew? Who could have seen that coming? But there it is. That's the run. We don't need a save. Thank you. Thank you for the GGs. To anybody watching on YouTube, I hope this proves useful. If you don't understand something, feel free to hit me up on Twitch. It's Niddle on Twitch. You always know where to find me. Or head on down to the Ghostwire Speedrun Discord and bother me there. Bother me anywhere. I don't care. Or leave a comment below in the YouTube video. Thanks for watching.